What is up, everybody, and welcome back to today's episode of Why'd I Buy a Mini Truck? In the last video, we had the blue truck airing up on its own, so it's over at the other garage, and right now, we're digging into the black parts truck. So yesterday, kind of weird, it didn't start. So at first I was like, maybe it is the alarm system. It does have an aftermarket Viper alarm, which we will be pulling out of it. However, after doing a little bit more research, I dove in, checked the starter out, found out the starter wire looks good. Next thing you got to check, fusible links. And what did I find? Well, first, start off with this. So this is the factory fuse. Okay, runs here. Now you can see somebody had an issue at one point, and that fusible link blew. So they hooked up this red wire. And now, I want you to tell me if you think that that's getting any kind of good connection. Really doubt it. Not only that, but the connector itself inside, where it latches, is broken. So, boom, fusible link. Definitely feel like that might be the issue. Coming over here, some corrosion inside of here. Not a big deal, we'll clean that up. But this is loose on this aftermarket terminal. And then inside, a little dirty. Not a big deal, but it's loose. And when you have an electrical connection that's loose, you're going to have added resistance. That added resistance is going to cause those fusible links to pop. So you might be asking yourself, well, why are you going to replace those since you're going to be pulling this motor and transmission anyway? Putting it in the Blue King cab. Well, it's important to make sure that everything on this truck is functioning properly before we go ahead and transplant it into our new mini truck. So what I'm going to do is come down here. You can see in here, this is all of the stuff for the aftermarket alarm system. Today we're going to go ahead and pull all this stuff out. We're going to get those fusible links in. I already have them ordered straight from Nissan. We're going to pop them in, make sure everything works. So what I am going to do just temporarily to check, to verify that that is in fact the issue that I'm dealing with, is I'm going to create some jumper wires. Now this is not a fix. This is absolutely a very temporary thing to verify that that is in fact the source of our problem. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to get jumping on removing the alarm system, trimming back and capping and labeling the wires for the radio. We're going to continue to pull certain things out of here that we're going to be using on our other truck. As you can tell, we've kind of already made our way through. So I pulled the floor plastic off, the kicker plastics on each side because I need those for my truck. We're also going to be pulling this entire dash, and we're going to be recovering it, so that'll be really nice. I'm still on the fence about the door cards, because like I said, our door cards come all the way up and over, but I do kind of like this style. I think it'd be really cool to showcase the paint through the door cards themselves. Obviously not this one. This one's all dented and damaged. Ours is in good condition. So if these door cards do fit, which I think they will, we'll also pull this window molding off, and we'll swap these over, cover these. Then we're also going to recover the ones we already have, just so there's some options. So back here, what I'd like to do is take this bed cover off. If I'm not mistaken, this bed, because it is a longer bed from everything I've kind of looked at, I did some rough measurements, and it seems to be about the same as the bed on the King cab, which is kind of cool. I'm going to try to save this Nissan cover, just a plastic cover lifts up, was bolted down. I think it'd be really cool to have so we can kind of clean up the bed of our truck a little bit and cover some of the holes that we don't really need in the floor of the bed that are there right now without doing some modifications to our bed at this time. Maybe over winter, but not right now. So once we know that everything in here is good to go, we're going to go ahead and start prepping this to be pulled. Now the easiest way to do this, which I'm going to be doing, is I'm actually going to be starting inside since we're going to be pulling the dash anyway. I'm going to be labeling every single plug that comes off the harness and where it goes, you know, what it plugs into. everything's going to be labeled. So this way when we go to install it in our truck, we know where everything is routed. We know where everything plugs into. There's no guesswork. Make it as easy as possible. Now, I was originally thinking about just leaving the harness attached to the engine and doing a bulkhead connector just behind this rubber grommet that goes into the firewall, but we're going to save that for another day. Considering it would be a fair amount of work to go ahead and do that, we'll wait until we actually re-lume the harness. The goal is to get the engine and transmission into the blue truck after we clean up, shave, and do all the work in the engine bay and get it painted in the blue truck. Now, while this motor and transmission is out, we're going to be doing all new gaskets, painting the valve cover. We're also going to double check the work that was previously done. We're going to be installing our new headers, which will go to our brand new exhaust that I've been fabricating in my fair time. And then what we're going to do is slip the engine and transmission in, run our harness where it needs to go, verify that everything works. Then we're going to pull the whole harness back out, clean it up, and we're going to tuck it. So that means anything that we're going to extend, these fuse and relay panel right here is going to go inside the truck. The battery in our blue truck is obviously located in the back of our cab. So everything close to that's going to actually be back there. And I'd like to only have a few connectors coming out here, only things that really need to be there. We are, like I said, going to be doing the Willwood master cylinder for the brakes and the clutch. We're also going to do a slave cylinder for the transmission when we do some transmission work, but that's a later video. We're going to be running the 300ZX brake booster and tucking and routing all of these hard lines just kind of out of the way. I mean, even if we keep them in the factory location on the blue truck, I need all of these retainer clips, so it's just going to be easier to find a way to tuck it. Since we won't have the dash in the blue one, even after the engine and transmission are in the king cab, we'll be able to do some routing behind the dash and make sure everything looks nice and pretty. I was considering at first taking these wheels off of the truck and putting it on ours. However, I think the offset is just a little bit too aggressive. And our wheels currently, when they're tucked, do rub on the inside of the 4x4 fenders that we have, and they also rub pretty heavily on our bed. Now, those are things that I'm going to be addressing later on when we start to do fab work on the bed and we do the tubs in the front of the king cab before we go to paint it. Like I said, I'd like to tuck a larger wheel, so just giving the option to tuck a 20 or a 22 is going to really open up the options for wheels and tires on our blue king cab. I am considering just getting Nissan Titan Steelies. I think they look really cool, and they would fit the truck nice. I did see somebody on YouTube who has them. I think they'd be a great OEM plus kind of option for the truck. So that about wraps up everything I have for you guys today. I'm going to go ahead and get cracking on this, start to label everything, continue to pull the dash from the inside, and hopefully when those fusible links show up, we can go ahead and fire this thing up and drive it right on out. So stay tuned for the next video, guys. I really appreciate all the new followers, everybody watching the videos, these trucks. So I got to come clean with you guys for just a moment. I got to get real. So for the last week, I have had these trucks online for sale. Now, it's not a cop-out. I'm not over the project. I'm not burnt out on it. I am moving, actually. And I won't have the space that I need to do this in the current setup that I have. So we are looking for a new shop. And if that goes through, I'll have plenty of room. It's just right now, the usable garage space I have is pretty much what you see. And I share this garage space with a few cars. So working in here sometimes can be a little hectic, and projects sometimes get rushed. But I am taking the post down tonight. I've had a lot of interest in it. However, there's nothing that's really come through and been solid. So I have decided that we are 100% going to be moving forward with this project, and we're just going to knuckle down. I'm not going to lie, for a little bit I was discouraged, especially when I was finding a lot of the issues in the blue truck that needed fixed, and then trying to break off bite-sized pieces of that, and then picking up this truck and then having the issue with the starting and some other small quirks that this thing has. But I've decided that in the end it will all be worth it to build one solid mini truck, and that's exactly what we aim to do. So again, thank you for hanging out, watching the videos, sticking around, subscribing, liking, commenting, all of that jazz. And I will catch you guys in the next one.